get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast for this week. I am Dr. Nathalie McPhee, and today I'm hosting this episode with my guest, Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp. Dr. Nathalie is an Ottawa-based chiropractor, a certified functional medicine practitioner, and the author of a recently published book, Hack Your Health Habits, as well as the creator of Hack Your Health Habits Mastery Program. She does that online as well. And she's the host of a new podcast called What the Hack, which is an awesome one for you guys to add to your library. Dr. Nathalie's mission is to help people achieve abundance in health, mind, and life. So that's a great fit for our podcast here. We're going to talk a lot about her new book. It's a step-by-step formula helping individuals hack their health habits, having them on their A game no matter what age, what circumstances. And through her years of experience, she has 12 major pillars of physical and mental health that we'll talk about to help people live to their full potential. So welcome, Nathalie.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show, Nathalie.
I think it's going to be a really exciting discussion today, and I appreciate you joining me. It's always nice to talk to a fellow Canadian because it is we talk to people from all over the world. So I love to bring Canadians to our little show. And I know I touched on just a very small part of who you are. And what you do and what you've done with this book. So why don't I leave a little bit of this to you? So tell us how this sort of came to be, why you decided to write this book, and what this means to you.
Well, it's stories are so important because when we are on a mission to do something, oftentimes we have a reason because of personal experience. So I have to go way back to me at the age of 14, where I was anorexic, and I struggled from anorexia to bulimia for, most of my late teens years and also in my early 20s. So really, my journey in health has been about healing myself and finding solutions for myself. Then I became a chiropractor, and you're in practice, you're trying to help people in your practice and so forth. But at the end of the day, it all started with me needing a solution to heal myself, my body, and also my mind, because obviously, those issues have a huge mental aspect. So that's kind of the reason or my journey. And then the book itself is just like you, Nathalie, being in practice for many years, seeing what people were struggling with, the confusion of all the information that is out there, and sometimes the misinformation that's out there, and then, the not having the time and not knowing what to do, and also the habit part, because it is not easy to necessarily implement new habits. So I kind of put it all into one book to make it easy, cut to the chase. What do you need to know about this? What do you need to know about this? And then I didn't want the book to be just about information, but about how to implement. And that's why I picked the title, Hack Your Health Habits. I wanted people to take action, small little steps to start with, and then taking on, bigger changes. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. And I am truly on a mission to develop this health hacker tribe of people that are like-minded, of people that want to think for themselves and want to take action for better health for themselves and their family. So this is kind of the journey.
Well, your book is very extensive. I mean, there's no way in the next half an hour or so that we can talk about every topic in there. There is motivation and purpose and planning and there's food and supplements and toxins and stuff about rest and keys around exercise and movement, and then even specific things like gut, brain, hormone health. It is a powerful amount of information. It's really a library of books in one. So what makes this different for people listening if they've bought health books before, or they're standing in front of that shelf either virtually on Amazon or live in the bookstore? Why should they pick up this book?
Well, as I kind of hinted before, it's the implementation of it. So all through the book, at the end of each chapter, all through the book, I've come up with a system of hacking with 3 different levels. So I'll give you an example of a level 1, level 2, and level 3 in a second. But at the end of each chapter, I give you example of a level 1, level 2, and level 3, and then literally have people sit down and write down what habits they want to change. Is it going to be a level 1, level 2, or level 3? What time frame are you looking at? Because there's also a workbook that people can download to make it even more practical when they get the book. So it was about the information, which I think, like I said, I curated different topics and kind of the, Cole's Notes version of what people need to know. And then if they go into references, then they'll see what else they can read if they want to dig deeper on a certain topic. So to go back to the levels, a level 1 of hacking could be changing deodorant, meaning you just realize that the deodorant that you're using is full of chemicals. You go to the health food store, buy a new one, do the exchange in your bathroom, and toss the other one in the garbage, and you're good to go. So it doesn't require a lot of habit changing. A level 2 example could be taking vitamins. I don't know about you, but I hear people saying all the time, I'm just not good at remembering to take my vitamins. So what can you do to implement or change that habit? So it could be, you're really dedicated about brushing your teeth 3 times a day, so you put your vitamins right beside your toothpaste or toothbrush because you have that habit. So, it could be this. It could be bringing, little case in your briefcase so you have your vitamins on every time that you open your briefcase at work. So it requires a little bit more integration and a little bit more planning. And then a level 3 could be losing 20 pounds, quitting smoking. So these are bigger hacks, and they need to be approached differently. And I walk people through, the 7 points to a level 1, the 9 points to a level 2, and the 11 points to a level 3, because a level 3 needs a lot more of accountability and implementation. So I think, we can have fun with this. And that was the point also, to come up with those levels and hacking, tools and strategies to make it fun for people, so they didn't think it was like a task. So I think this is what makes the book different. I mean, people don't have to, start writing at the end of each chapter. They can use it as a reference guide because there's so much information. But the key with this is to have fun implementing the changes for better health.
Well, I loved the level 1, 2, 3 hacks. I thought that was great, and not just because it chunks down what you need to do, but someone who's maybe really evolved in their nutrition may be ready for a level 3, like really take a big bite out of that one, but they may not be quite as evolved around some of those other things, maybe the toxins or maybe the exercise or some other piece. So they can maybe not be ready for a level 3, but can start with something like a 1 or a 2 to find a little momentum.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Wandalee, because I think we're all better at certain areas of our health. Maybe it's fitness, but, like you said, we're not doing so good with the cosmetics that we use, never really paid attention. So I think, you are completely right to say that different aspects of the book, people will be able to, go faster reading because they'll be doing a lot of that already. And then they'll hit some section and say, oh, okay, I just realizing that I have some work to do on that aspect. And then maybe they want to start with the easy level 1 hacks to get some momentum and so forth. Because let's face it, if we try to change too many habits all at once, it doesn't work, we get discouraged, and then a lot of time people will toss in the towel, and we just don't want that to happen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're using this word hack, and it's in the title of your book. And of course, in the health, especially the natural healthcare world right now, it's a popular term. We probably have all seen it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever we're reading. What do you mean by the word hack?
Well, kind of twofold. A hack to me is a shortcut to something. So I don't know about you, but we're all busy. And if I can find a better way and a faster way to accomplish something, I'm in. So that really is why I pick that word. That it was efficient, finding the best way to do that. And a hacker is somebody that has become efficient at doing so. So that's the purpose of the word, really. And to try to, again, make it fun for people and make it like it was not going to be that much work, because I think that's the other part, that people feel overwhelmed sometimes and they see it as a big mountain of things they need to do. And, it's not that complex. And once you start hacking, you get some momentum, and then it opens up other doors, just like when you're hacking a computer, which I can't say that I've done, but I'm imagining that that is how it goes, that doors open and you can get deeper and deeper into a situation or an aspect of health.
Well, and that kind of leads in perfectly. When I was reading your book, one of my favorite quotes is, open quotation, "I don't have time" is the grown-up equivalent of saying the dog ate my homework. I mean, as a clinician, you do see the same thing, I'm sure, in your office, or even when you're talking to your own family or your friends or your kids. People are always, I'd love to, but I don't have time. I want to be healthier, but I don't have time. And the reality is we're busy. Life is busy. We get that, but we do find time for things that are important to us. Somehow we find that time. And I wonder if sometimes, especially the women in my practice, they're mothers, they're grandmothers, they're busy, they're running everywhere, they're trying to work, they're trying to keep a home going. And what they might be saying to me really is, I just don't have any energy left.
Yeah.
That is a vicious cycle.
Yeah, energy, and then the knowledge, if somebody is not in the health field, then the knowledge to decipher that confusing information. And you're making me think, Wandalee, about a mutual mentor of ours that always used to say that if you want to know what's important to someone, look at their schedule and their checkbook. And that is really powerful to say, because if we value certain things, that it is exercise or eating better, but yet we don't make room in our calendar, or we don't invest, then, when we look at somebody's schedule, there should be place and room for that. Now, that being said, I think there's a lot of myth around the fact that you have to go to the gym for an hour and a half and it's time consuming. Like, there's so many ways to hack and do hack a workout and do a 15, 20 minutes high intensity interval workout. There's, so many things that, again, there's a lot of myth and misconception about what needs to get done. So you're correct to say that a lot of people are blaming time, but at the end of the day, it's because they're not making this time important, and it's not high on their value system. And unfortunately, you and I see this often, is that we don't value our health until we lose it, until we have a diagnosis of cancer, heart attack, or diabetes that's sending us that warning signal to say, okay, you need to listen to me. So the drive that I have to promote the book and get the book into as many hands as possible is that, what is it that someone will read in the book and it's going to, turn on the light and say, you know what, I need to take action before those symptoms or before those major health condition or crisis occur. So that's kind of a long answer to the no time, but I think it's just having the awareness that it doesn't take as long as one thinks, and B, having the awareness to integrate what's important in our calendar, and then sitting back often. And I talk often about the not to-do list. So I do have a to-do list like everyone else, but every so often, and I do it probably once a month, is I sit down and, okay, what are the things that I don't enjoy doing, that drain me of my energy, that take time, that I could stop doing, that I could delegate or reorganize in some ways that it's not going to add to my plate, because at the end of the day, they're not that important. So these are all things that I think need to happen and need to be at the forefront of health when people are trying to fit everything in.
I think that's a great idea. I hope everyone heard that one. The not to-do list. I can think of a couple of things right now that's going to free up a couple of minutes in my schedule every day. And all it takes is a couple of minutes, right? You know, it doesn't have to free up a whole hour or a half a day. Just even a few minutes would be good.
And as we grow up, as I like to say, because I still say, I'll do that when I grow up. It's easy to have things added to our plate, you know, your kids' hockey committee, and, you know, you're sitting on this board, and that, you know, after a while you go, holy moly, look at my schedule right now. So I'm not sleeping well, I'm not working out anymore, and I'm just grabbing stuff on the go. So it's the point with this is to do those mini resets to say, okay, what are the priorities? And then organizing our lives around this. For example, if your kid has hockey practice or, you know, baseball or whatever, why not bring your running shoes and run laps around the track while they're at practice? So there's always time. It's just a matter of valuing whatever the activity is and seeing the big picture of what it does to us and to our health.
Well, exactly. And taking those minutes to plan that in advance so that it happens. And bringing your attention to it always creates more energy in that area. So that's a wonderful tip right there. Now, one of the most popular topics when we're talking to people on the podcast or dealing with people through our Facebook pages or wherever is food and nutrition. And of course, supplementation kind of falls out of that. Those are huge topics to tackle. You've got lots of chapters in your book around that. And probably the most common question I get when I'm talking to people either in the clinic or here online is, you know, what is the right answer? Everyone's got a best thing. Paleo is best, or vegan is best, or keto is best, or fasting is best, or, you know, it creates so much confusion. People are really paralyzed. They don't know what choice to make, so they don't make any choices at all. And I love your message that there is no one size fits all. I believe that as well. And when it comes to health and when it comes to nutrition, it's definitely true. So how does that fit into your recommendations around food and nutrition and supplements?
Well, I kind of always joke that if we were to put all the holistic nutritionist and health practitioner in one building, I think the only thing they would agree with is that leafy green vegetables are good for us. I think this is where we would all agree. And even then, some people may disagree with some phytonutrients within those leafy greens, but
only if they're organic, though.
Only if they're organic. See, that's added to the equation. But so I think that people have to realize that there's no one size fits all. So if your coworker is on the ketogenic diet, feeling amazing, shedding pounds, energy through the roof, good. But it doesn't mean necessarily that it is what's right for you. And also, as our body change, we change, and our needs are actually also change. So for now these days, you know, it's so true that medicine is truly personalized because there is no one size fits all. So in the book, I kind of give the Hack Your Health Habit Food Pyramid as a guideline of priorities for food. But that being said, if people have dairy food sensitivity or gluten food sensitivities or soy sensitivities, you know, you need to take that in consideration. So I think Unfortunately, it is a little bit of a trial and error to figure out what works for you, but I think it's very much worth the time. And that being said, there are other tools that you can use. You could use an elimination diet to figure out what those food sensitivities are. You can use genetic testing. You can use microbiome testing. I mean, we have tools that we didn't have 20 years ago to, again, I'm using that word,